Welcome back. It's me again. I haven't gone anywhere. And if I did, I'm back. I hope you're well. I've, I hope you've had fun crafting. Because I've noticed most of us who do something, we do more than one something. It's rare that I meet someone who only knits or who only crochets. We all seem to be bitten by the bug and we do a variety of things. Before I do needles, because what's on my table? What's also on my table today are these. I made these socks for the princess on the Blue Devil because this princess loves blue. Actually, we have many princesses in this family who love blue. Now, my problem, this child can go through socks like a knife goes through butter. Forgive them, they're in various stages of being finished. And I was thinking, what can I do to possibly reinforce the bottom? Because she makes holes right below her toes. That's where she puts holes in her socks. She must walk on her toes or something because I don't understand that. She's the only one in the family. Anyway, and this is what's this? Patton's Croy sock yarn, and you know that sock yarn wears like iron. For her, it wears like butter. And what I tried to do, let me see if I could show that to you, a duplicate stitch, and I used yellow because I discovered middle-aged eyes shouldn't work with dark colors. I did give it a try, but so I've got this bright yellow, and I thought, let me try a duplicate stitch so I can I want to reinforce because the toes would be here. I want to reinforce all of this. But one of the things I'm finding is, you see when you do that and you have the inside, it's not very smooth to the feet. I'm thinking that if this is the technique I go with, that this sock might be very uncomfortable. And this particular princess is not shy in sharing her opinion and letting you know that your attempt to kill her toes or her foot did not work. And rather than have the frowns and the I want to avoid that. So if duplicate stitch won't work, it's a nice pattern sock. I would have thrown some yellow in there or some red. Or maybe, you know what? I think I need to put some sparkle in some of these socks to try and give it a little bit more personality. What do you think? Okay? That's probably I don't know. I just like things that shine. Anyway, this the other pair of sock, what I thought of, I love the garter stitch. And I thought of maybe knitting an extra piece that would go at the bottom and putting it, but I don't know how comfortable that. I know it can't go on the inside because to my finger this is irritating. So to the foot it would be too much. But you know what? Who says this has to be the right side? Maybe what I can do is, or it doesn't have to be garter stitch. I'm thinking that texture would save the material, but this is not very soft. And I can't, if she can go through wool, I can't say that I'm going to put a soft, maybe I can find a soft acrylic and then, do a circle. You know, the way they have elbow patches on some men's jackets, do a circle and then put it at the bottom because then it would go. Let's see, this toe looks good. See, it's not pointy and triangular the way a lot are. And if you're a circular sock machine knitter and you want to know how to do this, there's a video on YouTube by a gentleman named Steve Ashton. He is the Wizard of BC, British Columbia. The man has the patience of a saint. And he has a video, I think it's CMS Hints and Tips, that shows you how to get a more rounded, because you can do this at the toe and the heel, because on the circular sock machine, the heel and the toe are the same technique. the ordinary heel and toe. When you get into the more hand looking ones, you're talking something different. But as I was saying, I was thinking of, knitting a circle and attaching a hair, and maybe only attaching it from the outside so that there aren't stitches, or there are not a lot of stitches that would cause some irritation to her. What do you think? I'll try it. What's the worst thing that can happen? She can tell me she doesn't like it, doesn't want it, and that's all right. At least then that's honest feedback, and it'll be back to the drawing board. But there's got to be a way for me to have socks last her more than one winter. Okay? So that's that. Back to needles. What's on my table? For some reason, actually, you know what? My favorite thing on my table today is this. It matches my shirt. I love this color. Boy, do I love this color. But we're here to talk about needles. I have all of these ChiaoGoo needles. Okay. And let me tell you, this was not intentional. At the time that I bought them, again, I was at a Vogue Knitting Live. I had no idea what ChiaoGoo needles are. I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard people rave about it. I just knew that I wanted needles that I could work socks on. And I must say, you see this cable? These are awesome. Especially for someone like me who I'll throw needles in a bag. These do not twist and crimp. For some reason, no matter what I do, they stay crisp as though they're brand new. Okay, and I have several of them in different lengths, 9-inch, 12-inch, 32. I'm not sure what I was going to do with a 32-inch, because what was that? Where you make the sock and you pull out, I forget what they call it. But I have lots of ChiaoGoo needles, and I'm impressed by the cable. They're really awesome. I even have two empty, so this probably belongs in one, and there's a 9-inch. This goes in here, and there's a 24-inch. It's probably tucked in a project somewhere. Now let's talk about the needles I love. As though I don't have enough needles. I love these. What are these? These are Addie's K-Cell Rocket 2 Square. I love square needles. I thought the Prim were awesome with their triangular shape, but when I started with this, I went back to the store and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, different sizes. The square needles fit my hands like a glove. And this is not a sponsored video. I'm giving you my frank opinion. I just love them. When they're in my hands, awesome. Like this one, this is a 20-inch, 4.5. 20? Looks more like a 16 to me, but I may have mixed them up. But this one says it's a 16. Well, whatever it is, when making hats, I love these. I really, really love them. So much so that I went out and I bought a 40-inch and another 40-inch. But this one, I don't know what happened here. Can you see it twisted? I was trying to work on something. I don't remember what now, but I was working on something and it would not stay straight. It kept twisting, but it's the only one that has done that. So I don't know if it was a defective needle or me being me, okay? But I love these. These are my favorite and I guard them. The other needles I like are these Luettes. I thought I only had 2, but I have 3 of them. And they're just a little too long for sock making, but I make it work because they're square. For some reason, the square needles really work in my hands. I like the feel of them. And since I'm happy, excuse me, I've never had a problem with them. And is it collage? I'm really pleased to hear that they're making them again and they're selling them, but at the price point, With all these needles I have, I can't justify spending money on more needles. I, no. I could spend that money on yarn. And you know what? Let's try. Ah, as I told you, these were my first square needles. These are Knitter's Pride Nova Cubits Platina. And they're good. I have them in several projects all over the place. One day I'll finish them. What I find is they're heavier than the Addies, but they're square and I like them. But they are heavy, and when you're working hats, because I use this one to make hats, I love the feel in my hand, but there's weight to them. And for someone like me whose needles bend while she's working, these work well. I just have to get used to the weight. But these are really awesome. So if you're looking for square needles and you don't have a big budget, these work really well. Now the needles I have here, everyone recognizes these. I see two are missing, they're in projects. I like these. What I love about them is that, see the needle points, they're short. I've noticed a lot of the Addies, and it might be they have two different sizes and I didn't realize, this point on them is very long. I don't like long tip needles. I love the short tip, just enough for me to hold and I'm good. So I really like these. I must say though, the click system they have, so far that's not working for me. I've clicked, and while I've been knitting, I've looked down and I have the needle in one hand and the click part is on the other side of me with the stitches falling off. One day I will get it because I'm sure it's me and not them. Okay, so these are good. And I don't think I'll be buying any needles anytime soon. Oh, these. Once again, these. Remember how much I told you my family loves this yarn and the request I have for gloves and hat and socks? I tried these on the Prim needles, and these are, what size is that? 4 US? I can't tell what mm it is. But whatever it is, this knits up beautifully on this. And I'm glad I tested this because I realized I had to do the rib by hand. But because of the flurry, was it flurriness? Because of the furriness or the fluffiness of the yarn, I realized it really has to be a plain design, because any cable or decorative pattern that you try to do in this is going to get lost and it's not worth it. Which reminds me, someone posted a beautiful thing they made online. It was gorgeous, okay? And she used a fabulous yarn and she put cables all through it. The only problem was the yarn was so fabulous it outdid the cables. And me, not knowing any better and doing the one thing I tell people not to do, I decided not to mind my own business. So I went online and I was like, oh my God, fabulous colors. And I see your cables, they're nice, but they get lost in the yarn. Why did I do that? You should have seen the reply she sent me. Like, lesson, mind your own business. Unless somebody's life is in danger and it's not in knitting, mind your own business. People have their own sense of aesthetics. Just like I like sock yarn that needs shades, and other people would be like, "Ooh, who wants all those colors?" I need to extend that courtesy to her. But I still think for those fabulous colors, she should have kept to plain knitting. And for all those cables that were gorgeous, she should have used a plain yarn because it would have really shown up the stitch work that she did. But that's my opinion. But getting back to what I'm doing, this knits well. So I'm thinking I will work with these needles on this, and hopefully I won't break a tip. I haven't yet. And I won't bend it. I have to try and learn to lighten my hand, but I'm heavy-handed. I really am. So hopefully these needles will survive me and survive this project, and not only I, but the princess who requested this will be really pleased with what I do. Okay? So here's hoping. And as this day, well, it's only halfway done, but it's beautiful. Hear that ambulance? There's always noise in this neighborhood, but I'm surprised the birds aren't singing. Well, they're out doing something. Maybe it's hot and they're at the beach too. But thank you for coming by. Glad you were here. I'll see you next time. Bye.